All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford and a rumor that he is looking to fight. Well, we know he's looking to fight Keith Thurman, but people saying that the likely opponent for him before Keith Thurman could be Regis Prograis. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Before I get into the meat of the video though, please make sure you listen to the video all the way to the end. If you don't, make sure that before you leave, you make sure you hit the like button, the share button, subscribe, all that good stuff, help the channel grow. We're talking about the welterweight division again and Terence Crawford and what's happening with Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and all of that good stuff. Was on Twitter, also got some DMs from people that were responding to some rumors that were going around Twitter about who Terence Crawford may be fighting next. As we know, Terence Crawford is the WBO champion. And a lot of the boxing conversation going on right now is about who Errol Spence Jr., the other champion at welterweight, is going to be fighting. A lot of people are not happy for him with the fact that he's fighting Yordenis Ugas next. I don't understand that for anything, seeing as the only way you can get to Undisputed is by getting 3 belts first, or, unifying, in this particular circumstance in the welterweight division, he needs to do that first, and then he would be able to fight for Undisputed. And I just don't get why anybody cares about the order in which Errol Spence Jr. fights the guys to get there, as long as at the end of the day you get there. But in this video, it's going to be interesting to see what exactly it is that Terence Crawford is going to do next, and who he's going to fight next, while Errol Spence Jr. is having another fight to unifying the division. It's easy to point fingers and say to Errol Spence Jr. that Errol Spence Jr. is not fighting the guy that you want, but Terence Crawford in the meantime has to do something and has to fight somebody. So the question is, a reasonable question is, who is that going to be? Now, we know that it is not, more than likely, it is not going to be Jaron Ennis. More than likely, it is not going to be Virgil Ortiz. Those are the type of young fighters that are going to wind up being, that Terence might have to fight if the organizations actually mandate them. So and the fact that Terence Crawford already just had his WBO mandatory against Sean Porter. So this next fight for Terence Crawford is going to be voluntary. Now, Keith Thurman is the person that we know that that Terence Crawford wants to fight. He said, Keith Thurman said that he would be open to fighting Terence Crawford, and he said, but it's going to take me about 8 months to do that. Terence Crawford says, hey, why would it take you 8 months to do it? But, assuming that, it's that Terence Crawford hasn't changed his mind, that he wants to fight Keith Thurman. So that fight is a very possible fight, now that Keith Thurman said that he would fight him. But that fight is more than likely not going to happen until the middle part of the year, which is a good amount of time for a guy that is Terence Crawford's age now. He just turned 34 in September. By next September, he's going to be turning 35. So, at that point in time, you're closer. You're getting to the point that you are closer to 30. You're closer to 40 than you are to 30. So, not really sure how much time he's going to want to waste sitting by and not fighting anybody. So on Twitter, I've seen different tweets going around about, and I think this is a result of some videos that were done by Terence Crawford when he was in Dubai, where they say that Regis Prograis is the most likely guy to get the Terence Crawford fight next, because number one, he's available. Terence Crawford and he have talked about fighting before. If you don't recall, when Terence Crawford was at 140 pounds, Regis Prograis was calling him out to try to get a fight against him at 140 pounds. But instead of taking the fight, Crawford decided to fight Julius Ndungo to become undisputed, at 140 pounds. And he knew that after that point in time, he wasn't going to be trying to cut weight anymore, that he was moving to 147 pounds. And that, was pretty much, where that was going to be. Now, Regis Prograis, for his part, has always been, and this is why I don't really know, if this is if Terence Crawford were to give Regis Prograis a fight, I'm sure that Regis Prograis would take the fight at 147 pounds. But I know that Regis Prograis, has been pretty insistent on trying to stay at 140 pounds. A matter of fact, he was supposed to be having a fight with Mikey Garcia. I think there was a catchweight in that, but he's done done different videos about how he's changed his training regimen and all that to make sure that he wouldn't have to, really go through, ridiculous amounts of weight loss and all of that stuff, or very difficult ways to, to get down to 140 pounds. So it just really seemed like, from everything that I heard, he was really set at 140. And from the conversation that I heard with Terence Crawford and Regis Prograis, it sounded more like, they were talking, and this is the video that recently came out of Dubai. It sounded like more of the conversation was more about them and what had happened in the past. Now, Regis Prograis was interviewed by Elie Seckbach when he was in an airport leaving Dubai, and I do believe that was, maybe 2 days ago. This video was made, 12/20 of 21. So it was like 12/18 when Elie Seckbach, had interviewed him. And he said that he does believe that him and Terence Crawford are going to fight down the road, that they did talk about that. And he also said that, they're very competitive as far as playing basketball and all that stuff. But, it's just, I'm not sure how real that is. And honestly, man, if he were to do that and fight Regis Prograis, I'm not sure really, how well that would be taken by a lot of people, since Regis Prograis is a 140 pounder. But it wouldn't be a totally bad fight, because Regis Prograis has only lost to one guy, and that's to Josh Taylor, who is the 140 pound undisputed champion. But it was a very, very good fight, man. A lot of people think that Regis Prograis actually beat Josh Taylor. Personally, I think it could have been a draw. It could have been, went for one round. It could have either been a draw. I could have went one round, either way, either for Regis Prograis or for Josh Taylor in that fight. So Regis Prograis, I do think, is still a very, very live dog. And as far as being, a fight a stay busy fight for Terence Crawford, I think that probably would be a good fight. It'd be a good, entertaining fight, and as entertaining a fight and as challenging a fight as any of the other fighters that he really has available to him right now at 147. And actually, Regis Prograis may be a little bit, better of a challenge than Keith Thurman is at this point in time, because at least Regis Prograis doesn't look like he's over the hill. And hasn't had really, really long layoffs and all that stuff. He still looks like he's a ready to go fighter. And honestly, I do believe that he was in a negotiation, Regis, to fight Mario Barrios, who's the same guy that Keith Thurman is going to be fighting next to prepare for Terence Crawford. So, I'm not quite sure what is going to happen. I think that there is a likelihood that it could be Regis Prograis, and Regis Prograis, again, he does make sense. But most likely, I would think that, Terence Crawford would probably just wait until the Keith Thurman fight to have a fight. He's only fought one time a year for the last 3 years. So, it's not like that would be a ridiculously long layoff for him. And he's becoming an older fighter, man. So, the amount of rest from the training camps might really do him well. But anyway it goes, man, it's just going to be interesting to see, how high level the competition is going to be for Terence Crawford in his next fight, especially since so many people are jumping on Errol Spence Jr. for fighting Yordenis Ugas, right? But I know what it's going to be. It's going to be like, well, Bud wants to fight Errol. And Errol went and fought Ugas, so he's got to fight somebody else. But it just seems to me a certain group of people got a lot higher standards for Errol Spence Jr. than they got for Terence Crawford. But anyway, that's my take on the circumstance. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.